Hello, online APUSH crew. I'm Brandon Daly, delivering you guys part two of the two-party system lesson. And as always, we switched up the format yesterday, so we are learning from this textbook. It's actually my old APUSH textbook, still really great. Um, Resources, still really handy um, readings. So we are actually turning our attention to a page that looks like this because we are focusing on the economic crisis known as the Panic of 1837 and the log cabin and hard cider campaign of 1840. So where we left off yesterday was um Jackson's successor was his vice president, Martin Van Buren. So Martin Van Buren took 58% of the electoral votes. So he won. He won. But the Whigs wanted it to go to the House of Representatives and all that. So that's where we left off. But also where we left off was kind of at a economic climax because of the pet banks instituted by Jackson and this thing known as the species circular, which devalued the banknote, devalued the banknote. So that's where we left off, and that's what directly led us to an economic climax known as the Panic of 1837. And this was right when Van Buren took office. So, right when Van Buren took office, the United States was in the Panic of 1837. Jackson's opposition to the rechartering of the Bank of the United States was only one of the many causes of the panic and resulting economic depression. So yes, it did involve um Jackson's policy with the Bank of the United States not getting rechartered, but that was one of the many causes behind the Panic of 1837. So, but the Whigs were quick to blame the Democrats for their laissez-faire economics. What is laissez-faire economics? We'll dig deeper into that policy after the Civil War when we talk about the Gilded Age. But for right now, laissez-faire economics was little to no government responsibility when it came to the economy. So let's dig deep into the campaign of 1840, and like I mentioned, it was known as the Log Cabin and Hard Cider Campaign. So in the election of 1840, The Whigs were in a strong position to defeat Van Buren and the Jacksonian Democrats. Voters were unhappy with the bad state of the economy. In addition, the Whigs were better organized than the Democrats and had a popular war hero, William Henry Tippecanoe Harrison, as their presidential candidate. The Whigs took campaign hoopla to new heights. To symbolize Harrison's humble origins, they put log cabins on wheels and paraded them down the streets of cities and towns. They also passed out hard cider for voters to drink and buttons and hats to wear. Name calling as a propaganda device also marked the 1840 campaign. The Whigs attacked Martin Van Buren as an aristocrat with a taste for foreign wines. So when we think about politic campaign nowadays, sort of resemble the past because there was name calling and all this. And we really see that in the campaign of 1840. A remarkable 78% of eligible voters, which were white males, cast their ballot. Old Tippecanoe and John Tyler of Virginia, a former states' rights Democrat who joined the Whigs, took 53% of the popular vote and most of the electoral votes in all three sections: the North, the South, and the West. This election established the Whigs as a national party. However, Harrison died of pneumonia less than a month after taking office, and his excellency John Tyler became the first vice president to succeed to the presidency. President Tyler was not much of a Whig. He vetoed the Whigs' national bank bills and other legislation and favored Southern and expansionist Democrats during the balance of his term. The Jacksonian era was in its last stage and came up to an end with the Mexican War and the increased focus on the issue of slavery. So we have a full chapter before we reach the end of the Jacksonian presidency. But John Tyler was not a Whig, was he? No, he leaned Democratic. And Democratic today does not mean Democratic in these days. I want to preface. I want to remind you of that. So actually I will talk about this in the introduction in the next video. We are shifting our lesson to society, culture, and reform in these days and in the Jacksonian era. So see you guys next time.